Okay, for anyone watching the stream, this is the Art Racecraft chat. We're just going to have a little chat about how to prepare for a race, what to do for ZRR races to try and get as many points as possible, and then turn it into hopefully a Q&A session. And then when the race starts, we'll separate into different groups, and if I can actually breathe, I'll talk through anything on the C+ race while we're doing it as well in 25 minutes. Right, so first bit is race preparation. So if you're planning for a race, the first thing you need is the course. Now, if you're racing on, if you've got sort, how many of you got source actually? If we just talk about the guys in here at the same time.
Yeah, I've got the course.
Yeah, if it is super useful. You don't need it by any stretch of the imagination. It's not needed, but it is really, really useful. So for anyone watching the stream, it's just popped up onto the screen, and you can actually see that the course has already popped up. So I'll get a little icon on my screen that will tell me exactly where I am at every point in time. So the bits that I'm going to discuss in a second is how you negate that. So Alan Reed used to be amazing at this, where that little map that I got everybody to download today. So today's course is Glasgow Crit. So if you just type Glasgow Crit, Zwift. There is Zwift Hub, which will pull them all out as well. So if you want to type that into your phones, anyone actually, Zwift Hub is really, really good, and it will give you all of the courses. Zwift Hub is really good because it also tells you how far the lead-in is. So if you're not certain on that, have a look at the lead-in. There's some other bits that you should do as well if you're having a long race. If you don't know what the lead-in is, you should certainly do some more recons, but in general, if you just do a bit of searching, you should be able to find the course. So I pulled up onto the screen now. You guys in the chat should be able to see it anyway because we got you to download it. Paul, can you mute?
The freezer won't shut properly.
Paul, can you mute your microphone? So I muted him. And the main point for the course we're doing tonight, so for any course that you're doing, you want to know where all the pinch points are, and you're trying to save as much effort as humanly possible for every single bit in between. So the way you can generally tell whether you've done this properly or not, and this isn't 100% true on whether you've ridden the best race, because you might have decided that you're not a sprinter, you're not good at the end, and you want to attack halfway through the race to try and break it up, and you don't have the lowest average watt per kilogram at all. But if you're trying to save energy for sprints, trying to save energy for the finish, you should really finish that race with one of the lowest average watt per kilograms out of everybody. And the way you do that is your positioning. So for every part of the race that you're racing along, you want to be at the very back of that first bunch for 95% of the race. There are points when you move, but for 95% of the race, you want to be right on the back of that bunch. If you end up in the 2 or 3 straggling riders that drop off, and this is probably my weakest part of my drafting sometimes, where I end up, especially if I'm struggling in a B race, I end up tailing off the back a little bit more than I should. I end up getting strung out and then have to attack to come back in again. But you want to be like the front of your wheel, right on the back of that group, and you always want to be kind of like just dropping off a little bit all of the time, and then you just slowly increase your cadence and you come back up to them again and then drop off a little bit. The reason why you want to do that for your drafting is Zwift has a little sticky draft thing, which is how they've changed the drafting bit with the group to try and stop the group from going as fast. What they did was they basically made it so that you could do about 20 watts, I think it is, more than the person in front of you, and you won't go past them. That means that most people that sit right in the middle of the group, not going backwards, are probably actually trying not to go forwards. They're actually doing 20 watts more than they need to for the entirety of the race while they're drafting, which is just madness, because that adds up to basically being knackered at the end of the race and not being able to sprint. So being at the very back and then looking to almost drop off, come back up again, drop off, come back up again. Again, source is stupidly useful for this because it will actually tell you what you draft watts or percentage that you're saving. And you can see that you could get 7 meters behind the person in front. My screen often screams with the bit that says get closer to the rider in front, but I've still got maximum draft. I want to get back up to that rider because it gives you that comfort zone, but you don't need to stress out about it because you've still got maximum draft. So you can get the point where so basically the point if you haven't got that is if your things scream, you've still got a big bunch in front of you and you're dropping back and your screen is giving that scream at you going 5 minutes to rider, come back up again, you're fine, you're still drafting. And you've still got full draft there, the same as you would do if you're right on the back of them. So just up your cadence, just a tiny little bit, don't stress about it, and just slowly come back up to the group. And you're looking to do that pretty much the whole way around the race course. That's how you draft and go around on 90%. If you've got steering, you can also steer to the inside to try and reduce the distance that you go, but I think the drafting is more important than the steering, to be honest. Next bit. When you move. So this is the bit where we'll discuss it in ZRL chats before the race, and we'll essentially talk about the pinch points where we think that everybody's going to move, and the key bit then is you need to be ready for them. This is when people get dropped, they're a bit tired, they don't know when that pinch point is, they don't move up before it happens, everybody kicks, they have to kick twice as hard to try and catch back on again. Either you get dropped or you're knackered when you get there and you get dropped the next time they kick. So knowing where it is, and what I quite like to do is actually attack them myself. So let's say we're doing this race, but well, actually we are doing this race. The first lap, the Clyde kicker isn't going to count on this one. So the Clyde kicker isn't going to count as a sprint on the first one for points, but people will still attack it. The Clyde kicker starts on a right-hand bend just after a kilometre in, not including the lead up. But your positioning for that should actually change 2 bends previously. So you'll have a gradual right-hand bend on this course where it goes uphill ever so slightly, and then it bends 90 degrees round to the left, and then the kicker actually starts on the right. I will start to move forwards in the pack. If I've got steering, I'll actually steer to the inside of the turn that I'm going to on the kick. So I'll go to the right-hand side. And that'll help me get past those riders without having to do as much speed. If you haven't got steering, then you can't do that. Just start to move your way forwards because it takes more effort than you think to move forward. So you want to do it as early as you can while still trying to draft for as long as you can. So back 2 corners before, so on that gradual right-hand bend before it goes left and then it goes right and kicks up, that's the point you want to start to gradually move forwards. And I want to be not first, but I want to be 5th, 6th, 7th coming into that first kick. Then for me personally on that one, I leg spin like crazy on the first little kick up. I hold my speed on the second one, then I stand up, close my eyes and just absolutely beat the living hell out of the bike for the second one to try and climb up to the top. But everybody's got their own sprinting technique to get up. But the point is that preparation. Any course where you've got a change in gradients, people will kick. The front guys will kick hard. And what I'll often do if I'm drafting, and other people will do when they're racing and trying to drop people, is I'll draft as much as humanly possible and then I will kick like crazy up those steep kickers because I've got more energy left to do it, and then I'll recover over the top, and then the next time we get to the one I'll kick hard again, and eventually you just drop and drop and drop people that hadn't concentrated quite as much on the way around or hadn't drafted as much on the way around, and you're thinning the field down before you get to the sprint. For this particular course, that's almost the only... There's 3 points to think about in this course, basically. The Clyde kicker itself, after you come over the top of the Clyde kicker, make sure you latch on before the descent. So if you're 5 meters behind a bunch in front, close your eyes, kick, get on the back of them, you'll be able to do 0 watts down the climb when you're on the back of them to get sucked down. You'll then get down to the bottom, it will bend around to the left, and just a little leg spin is all you'll need, especially if you don't have race mode. If you don't have race mode, which most of you don't because you're on a watt bike, then you can actually spin your legs up about 2 seconds before the climb starts. And because of the lag with the game, that it takes 3 seconds to register the power, your extra leg spins will count when the gradient changes when it kicks up. And try it in this race. Go down the steep descent after you've done the Clyde kicker. When you get to the bottom, just up your cadence to like 110, which will be so easy because you're going downhill, and your rider will just shoot up the next little climb and you'll do almost nothing. That makes a massive difference. You can actually do that on every single time you have those little sharp changes of gradients. The S's in Watopia are brilliant for it. Little spin on the legs as you come into the change of gradient, your rider will just shoot up and you're actually relaxing as it's kicking over when everyone else is standing up and kicking over the top. Makes quite a big difference. And then the only other point on this course, but to be honest it's a bit small, only really counts towards the end, is there's a tiny little kick just as you go around the roundabout, and then the road bends left as you're coming up to that final sprint. On the last lap, a lot of riders will go then because it's a change in gradient. They'll kick, and I like to, if I want to go early. So what's this one, tactics wise? Essentially, my choice on whether I go early or go late with a sprint at the end is how fast the group is going. If the group is in C less than 38, 39, or maybe even 40 kilometers an hour, I'll launch early sometimes. I'll launch at 700 meters to go because I think I can get away. If it's doing 41, 42, 43, there's no point, you'll never get away, and then you'll save it until a later sprint. If you've got a hill as it goes in, most people will slow down a little bit as they go towards that. It might be worth launching early. So this is like a perfect course where, well, so many people know it now that you kind of know that it's going to happen. Whereas when the course first came out, you could get away with essentially making the jump on people. And that's when you've just gone around the roundabout, it bends around to the left. So the main points from that, and then I'll stop for a couple of question and answer bits, where essentially learn the course, learn every little bit about it, learn where every change in gradient is, make sure you've got it. If you haven't got source, have the map in front of you for every race you ever do on Zwift, every single one. You have the map in front of you and you know exactly where you are, you know exactly where the change of gradients is, you know psychologically how much effort you've got to save to try and do a big kick later on. You know that if you're on a climb and you're dying, that you've got a descent and a half decent one to recover afterwards. If you don't, you might have to conserve a little bit. You might have to drop back a bit the group and try and catch back on again if that's what you have to do, to not get stuck in no man's land. But knowing the course is everything. It is so important. And source is cheating, to be honest, because it just tells you exactly what the courses are. Right. One more bit actually before we do any questions on bits, and that's just simply, if you're doing a ZRL, split up who does the efforts. So you've got 6 riders. If you've got, and they love doing the courses in ZRL where you've basically got a sprint then another sprint. If you ever do the Neokio Nights, I think it is, where you do loads and loads of sprints. The reason why we used to do so well in that and the isotopes was we just didn't go for all of them ourselves. We split it up. So 3 people would do one, then another 3 people would do another. Or we might have a course where you've got a real big climb like the, what's it called? Ali, what's the climb where you have to go up? What's the climb that I love and normally throw up at the top? Anyway, big climb on the way in, massive effort to win. The person that's trying to win the race possibly shouldn't be the person that's doing that. So Powley, for instance, in our team, would often he'd try and aim to finish about 10th up there, not trying to win, saving his efforts so that he could win the end of the race. So if you expel yourself completely trying to get the points on the way through, you might not make the end. Sometimes we do ZR races, L races, where 2 of us will absolutely decimate ourselves in the sprints, and then we'll drop off because we're just dead. There's nothing we can do. We've expelled everything. We can't even hold the group after that point. But we might have 60 points by that point, which is worth more than first place in the race. So splitting out your riders in terms of who races when is really, really important. Right, sorry, I've rabbited on now loads. Anyone got a question on anything to do with Zwift Racing, ZRL in particular, picking teams, etc.? Whatever you want, really. Anyone?
Ask a question, Dave.
Yeah, go for it, Mark.
I've volunteered for captain duties for the first time this round. Just wondering, never done it before, not really sure what it entails on that side of things. Any tips, hints?
Perfect. Main bit is morale. But to be honest, the way that we do it is, I think the best way is to run 2 teams in one. So we have 15 riders, 2 teams, but 1 group. And then the second team, if it doesn't necessarily fill up, it doesn't really matter, but then you've got a bigger pool of riders for the top team. The top team always gets the right riders for the race, and everybody gets a race if they want it. It works really well. If you've got that,
I'm going to be looking after Carbon, which is giving up the team for, I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
If you haven't got that, it doesn't really matter. It's the similar logic. You basically have... in the chat group, what I'll do is every Thursday I will post a message that will say in capital letters, this is the sign-up race for, and then I say what the next race is, give a reaction, and then people react to that message with a thumbs up or a thumbs down, or I think we do a thumbs up or a crying emoji, and then I make sure and try and chase everyone to do it. Hopefully everybody does it. Please sign up. It makes the person that's running its life a hell of a lot easier. And then let's say I've got 8 people going on. This depends on the team. If it's a team that's trying to win, you'll pick the 6 best riders. If it's a team that's trying to win but at the same time is trying to be all-inclusive, you'll pick the riders to try and make sure that you get as many riders as possible to compete in the event. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. What we often did was have a spare rider as well, and that rider will choose to do another race at the same time, and then if somebody has a dropout, that rider came in. We've actually had to do that, I think 5 or 6 times actually so far. It was normally Kev. Is Kevin here? No, Kev had one season where he dropped out like 6 races and like 6 out of 12 or something in the first and the second round, which is just madness. We just had so many issues, it was really sad. So having a spare rider sometimes is really useful. That rider could be the DS, and they're warmed up, ready to go, and then if they're not needed, they then either stay pedaling and do the DS, or they just pop out and do it. That works really well as well. I think the Mesotrons do something similar. They normally have about 700 people in their chat, and they've got such a good team effort.
I can come in there as well, Mark. Pete Lacken here. So I think you've got Carbon, right, Mark?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're teaming up with Atomic. So the idea is they're going to get Atomic into B1, have the top Bs. Carbon will be a B2, so slightly below, sort of mid Bs, if possible. And then we're going to have a feeder group Neutrons, which are going to even be lower, like B3 if we can do it. So at a minimum, all you need to do really is share the links that will come in on a Saturday on the chat group, and then just see what the other captains are doing in that pool of 3 teams, and the team will sort itself out basically. But it's 4 minimum, 6 maximum.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
When you're a team captain, by the way, as well, and you want to pick the team to get your correct division, you can. It's not. Well, it's manipulating. But if you want to get a B1 division, only pick your 4 top riders with their best 20-minute and 5-minute power. If you want to get a B3 division, a B4 division, pick 4 C guys and stick them in the team, and you will basically end up with a B3 team. You just want to be in the right division. So we, for instance, in Isotopes and Hadrons have got a B/C team, so we think loads of our riders, hopefully including me, are going to upgrade. But we've only signed up for really bad Bs stats-wise in the B team, because we want to end up in a low B, because we are all low Bs, or all like 3.2, 3.3s on our 20-minute. So you can manipulate it a little bit to try and get a division that hopefully suits you a bit.
Right, cheers for that.
That's all right. Probably got time for another couple of questions before we have to dive into. Don't have to. I'll stay and try and do a chat through this bit when we've got people on anyway.
What bike's everyone on tonight?
Ah, yeah, good point. Pick your right bike. Nowadays, I think the best bike is. I'm going to put it on. Didn't they change it now? So it's the Canyon. The Canyon Aero Road 2024 is now the best bike, isn't it?
Yeah, depending on your level, I guess.
If you can get,
that's the best one so far.
If you can get the disc wheels with it, and the disc wheels are the DT Swiss Arc 111s, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah. If you can get those, I believe that's a better combination than the Tron most of the time now. But if you're not sure, go Tron. If you haven't got the Tron, go up the Alp 500 times.
I was going to give that new Pinarello supposed to be good, isn't it?
Yeah. Shall we dive into? Shall we dive into whatever?
Sorry, Dave,
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, very quickly. For those that don't know, in the feature section, there's a Zwift Bikes park that Ben Park's posted in there.
Yeah.
If you click on that link and put in your levels and your drops and everything, it'll tell you what bike is best for the course.
No,
so if you've never seen that before, have a look at that after this.
Do you want to post a link to it in the Facebook chat afterwards? Will work really well. Amazing. Right. I guess if we drop into our individual chats for the races, anyone who's not in is welcome to, or doesn't have anyone in theirs is welcome to stay in here, but they've kind of got letters for like B+, B-, etc., haven't they? If there's no one else in your chat, come back in here and chat anyway if you want.
David, it's Lee Radford.
Thanks,
Sorry for being so late to this bit here.
That's all right.
I don't think I've been given a ZRL. Is there any spaces for, like, I think there was one that asked me, but it was like a C- or something, and I don't, I wasn't sure if I'm in it or not, if someone's got a team.
Pete's trying to talk.
Lee Radley?
Hello?
Is that Lee Radley?
Lee Radford, yeah.
Yeah, Radford, sorry, yeah. I've got your name there, Lee. I'll sort that out later. You're the only one that's not been allocated yet.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy. I'm not saying I can ride every single week, but I'll definitely commit as best I can.
That's perfect.
Yeah, you'll hear, don't worry, this week.
Okay, all right. Lovely, thanks, gents. And thanks, David, for your input and your advice.
That's all right, no problem. I think the
Being
most
new to it definitely helps.
I'll try and chat during the race as well, so if you're watching it back, just have a look at the bit, or just have a look at any of my streams on the positioning.
Yeah.
Person I would follow if you want to see drafting is, this is what I did when I first joined art. I basically, I stalked Peter Brooks. I just looked at all his results and went, bloody hell, he gets a lower watt per kilogram than everybody. I just stalked him, and then I just copied him. And then when I ended up in race with him, I literally just sat next to him.
That's my problem. I go batshit crazy, and then that's it. I might have decent watts per kilos, but I come last. It's quite funny, really.
That's racecraft, yeah. And 99% of people on Zwift have horrific racecraft. And you can see it because their average watts are really high. But, again, like I said at the beginning, that has to be taken with a pinch of salt. If you're light and you can only try and get away with long breaks, then you're not going to finish a race with a low average watt per kilogram.
Sorry, that completely. I lost you completely there, connected to something else, but sorry about that.
That's all right. You'll get it on the YouTube video if you have a look back anyway.
Yeah, no, that's great, and good luck in the race tonight.
Brilliant. Everyone see?
Good luck, everyone. Cheers for that, David. Appreciate it.
That's all right.
Thank you.
You can. So for those listening, yeah, go on.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
What lap of the sprint?
Is that Tom?
Yeah.
I knew you wouldn't.
No idea.
I knew you wouldn't know. I should have said that at the beginning, shouldn't I? If you want to do race frac, just don't do what Tom does. 2, 4, and 6.
I thought you were going to cite Chow as your reference point for a minute.
Oh God! Don't get me started on Chow. Yeah. Oh, we've only got 10 seconds left, haven't we?
Of course, yeah. Let's call the boss, bro. Good luck, all.
Yeah, good luck, everyone. Coming out the beginning of the race, just stomp on the wheels with 2 or 3 seconds to go. I don't care about being first. Just try and slot into 10th, 11th, and the group will kind of form around you. And this group will kind of slot in together on this now. Unless that French guy just nails it. Another really important bit, learn your opposition. Before I stole him, AJ Isaacs, now an art rider, if I went before him, I could never beat him. He'd always suck my wheel and overtake me. I had to stay on the back of his wheel, wait for him to go, and then go past him whenever he went. Every time I tried to go first, he beat me. So you can learn actually some of the skills and strengths of the people you're actually racing against. Okay, everyone should be kind of chilling out a bit now. I was chatting too far forwards then. Okay, just make sure you're not too far off the back now, because this is the gradual bend round to the right. And then it bends left. And sometimes if a team wants to try and attack and get away, they'll push here, and then it'll stretch, and it's really hard to actually get back on. So I'm
being sensible tonight.
Yeah, I've just started to move forwards just a little bit. And then for me, I sit down and spin up the legs before the start of this climb. Try and hold the speed. If I'm going for a segment time, I'll push it harder, but just leg spin now. Generally, people only push the second half hard. Dutch guys started to go. Spin up your legs now, and then stand up. Don't summit first, there's no need to. So I've actually started to back off a bit now. Don't worry about those guys in front, they won't stay away there. You can stop pedaling now. Do absolutely nothing. If you're on a watt bike, spin up your legs now. And then watch how your rider just now almost stop pedaling now, and you'll see your rider just shoot forward still. Did anyone notice it?
Why? That trick.
It's mad, isn't it? Sad times, I don't get that anymore. Okay, one rider off the front, but long flat sections to come, so I don't think it's an issue. Unless it's fish.
No, it's not fish.
That's another thing as well. I did a different race, I think. I came back to DS the last half of our race once, and I found 3 of our team on the front, pushing the front of a group, when 3 of the 6 breakaway riders were hard. Don't push a group when your riders are in the breakaway.
David, sorry mate, it's Lee Radford here. Am I being stupid? I'm trying to find your stream.
If you go to the Facebook page, there's a link not on it. Have a look at.
I went onto YouTube, sorry.
No, it's alright, mate. I just didn't want to share it live for everybody, this one.
Understand. I'll go on Facebook, not an issue. Thank you.
Oh, it's alright. You can actually tell me whether it's working as well, mate.
Okay, I'll log in, sign up, and I'll let you know, mate. I couldn't actually make the race tonight, but I'll get involved. That's good.
Okay, for those of you in the group now, how many watts per kilogram are you doing? Because I'm doing 1.5 to 2.
Yeah, 2.5.
Yeah. But look at your positioning as well. There's only 2 riders right at the back here. Even the 2 riders in the middle, just a little bit too far forwards, I think. With a rider in front, you need to be careful. So I'd be watching for any teams in a ZRL making a burst out to try and catch. But
around about 600 metres to start the ride.
yeah. What you can also do with Source is you can set up a distance to segment thing, and it tells you how far ahead it is. Right, Fish is in this race as well, so if he goes off hard on the front, just let him go. He's a cheating beat.
So points for this one, am I right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Points for this one.
250
now, yeah.
metres.
It's at first across the line as well, so you can go early. Hint, hint. I'm gonna go.
I'm like you, Dave. I'm following you.
3, 2, 1. I'm going now. And there goes Fish.
Jesus.
Well done, guys. Ignore Fish, he's not on Zwift power. If he goes past you, just leave him. Now do as little as possible to get your energy back. Watch pushes straight away. Ignore Fish. Tommy, you stay on him. Everyone else, you don't need to push to him. Tommy stays on him, he'll win the race. Take your rest, do nothing. Yeah, it's all coming back. Back to the back of the group again. Attacker on the front, only one. Is it Fish? No, it's not Fish. Oh, no, leave them. They're people who had no idea what the sprint was. Take your rest, take your drink. Should be doing 2 watts per kilogram max in here now. This one's not a sprint, so just aim to summit in 10th. No need to win. silly comment. Oh, I'm sweating. Oh. Okay, watch the people just pushing for... Take your rest. Don't forget your leg spin at the bottom. Take your rest again. Don't pedal at all. Nothing. Still don't pedal. Still don't pedal. Pedal now. Oh, this one's tough. I'm going to alternate it. I'm going to go a bit later on this one. Let someone else try and drag me up.
I'm going to go again on this one, so I can call me up on the third.
Yeah.
What gear are you attacking the steep bit, David?
Now that is different. I've got a Wahoo kicker bike now, so...
I usually go 14, 15, 17 if it's towards the end of the range.
Yeah. I normally used to sprint in 22 uphill. Someone's gone. Looks like, no, they haven't. They backed out again.
No, yeah.
Fish is gone.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
But he's got no points, so... Nice, Mark. Nicely. Watch out for splits now. How do you fancy a little stomp on the pedals? Split this up a touch.
Oh, no, yeah.
Might not work, but
Too long to get off the course.
You on about a breakaway downhill or?
3, 2, 1. Don't go all out. 90%. I'm stinging. Oh, I'm not fit enough yet. Oh, come on.
No, you dropped me on that time.
Oh, sorry, mate. You did so well on the one before.
Yeah, but I'll save myself for the next.
Oh, no. Sorry.
I'm a little old thing. I can't do two.
In the ZRL, if you've got a sprinting team, don't do what we did on that last lap. If you're stronger,
no, you don't.
Average than the others, push before sprints, break them after they've done a massive sprint. You guys hold back and then push hard after it on the next little climb, and you'll break the guy that pushed. So you've still got a sprint, but if you want to, so this is like a general comment for teams, if you haven't got the power of the top few sprinters, when they do one, semi-sprint yourself, go early, and then spin your legs up and stay with the guys getting drafted along, finish 10th to 15th-ish, wait for the next little hill bit, and then kick hard, and you might break those guys that went.
And you have a nice little lead out for your sprint.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, perfect actually, yeah, you help suck them out the bunch.
Yeah.
Oh man, I shouldn't be talking now.
It's a sprint, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point.
I'm just staying in on this one.
Look out of hurry.
I might have dropped myself with that talking. That was stupid. What I did then, don't ever do. If you've got sprint, semi-sprint anyway, don't ever go from the back. I just burnt twice as much energy as I needed to. That was the exact thing you should never, ever do. That was awful. Maybe fish is chow.
Still salmon. Yeah.
For anyone watching, do you see how you can use steering just to steer to the inside of that corner with a bit more speed and just suck around the group? This one doesn't count, but people will push hard. We got 2 riders up the road.
No. No.
You sure?
I'm laughing them.
Okay. Save as much as you can for the finish now. Now I'm just going to hope that stupid third sprint doesn't kill me. Is that an art rider up the road?
No.
That first rider in front isn't art, no?
Oh. Right at the front.
Oh, we. No. Right, watch for kicks onto him then. We should be able to catch him on the climb on this one, I think. Well, I don't know, it's got 11 seconds.
Yeah, you're going to do it, right?
Yeah. I think if any of us push for him now, though, we'll just kill ourselves and stop ourselves winning. So,
yeah.
If no one else is pushing, let him go.
Yeah, we need to fence him down. He's going to get away else.
Yeah.
No, not very left, you know. So let's see how he does.
Well done, Pete. I can't push on the front or I'll never get up. Again. I'll have to pause that later to have a look at it. That's why I shouldn't do video as well. Someone's going for it. Let him go, it's an art rider pushing out. Watch people going on the kicker. I don't think I'm going to do very well here. I'm broken. Well done, guys. Nice Ali, nice Tommy, nice Mark.
Pussy.
Yeah, still alive.
Still beat me. Disturbing series league winners.
Oh God, that hurt. Ignore fish in the results. He doesn't count.
How come?
Because he's not on Zwift Power. He's
Oh, right.
he hides all his data, and he's perfectly capable of over 4 watts per kilogram 20 minute. He's horrific.
How about you get out of it? I really don't know what you get out of it.
He doesn't share any data.
It's just madness, isn't it? What? I don't know what pleasure you derive from it, like.
Yeah. He probably just every now and again does a ride to keep him on the thing and shares it, but he doesn't share any data. His profile is completely hidden, but he'll kick out 5 kilometers into a 30-kilometer race and just ride off on his own and still do the climb at the end of the race faster than everybody else when he's been TTing up to it. That's what he did on Friday night or Thursday night on the Zwift Games one. Horrific. Oh man. Oh God. Well, there were 2 points in that, which were what not to do in a race for me on those 2 kickers where I just didn't move forwards before they started, and hopefully everybody saw on the video how bad that was and how much extra effort I had to do. If you're not sprinting, still sprint.
It probably didn't help you with yapping on the lead up.
No. No, I don't think that helps, but I was trying to achieve something.
Anyone racing again?
Was that you, Tom?
Yeah.
There's no Pete. Yeah, Tom and Pete always look for another race straight after they finished a brutal one.
I'm going to do a 5-minute spin and just get off National Toy.
I've got friends round for dinner that have been waiting for me downstairs, so I better go. Oh.
Just tell me you won. Just tell me you won, Dave. You haven't put it on YouTube anyway.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, the stream isn't live. Oh, brilliant. Well done, guys. Thank you very much for tuning into the bit. It was amazing to get that many people in. I hope my rabbiting was actually useful.
Bye. Appreciate that. Cheers, Dave.
Thanks, guys.